I just hopped off a call with some of our highest performing clients, and together we came up with a method that I am going to use consistently moving forward in my content. And I've called it the RDM, all right? Otherwise known as the reverse delivery method. And I'm going to talk to you about what that means, and I'm going to show you the 8 steps that you need to go through in order to implement it yourself as well. Now, it's super crucial, it's super important, and it's also super exciting, and it's also super easy to do. This isn't complicated. This is going to make you see content creation in a whole new light, and it's also going to make it much more exciting for you to create content too. So let's look at the RDM. Now, what most people are doing is, I'm going to go with black. What most people are doing is they are creating content that takes people from their offer to their delivery, or the thing that they sell, or their service, okay? So they're talking consistently about, I can help you do this, I can help you achieve this, and I do it through the way that I deliver. Whereas what we're going to try and do is create content from the opposite point of view. So it's reverse delivery. We're going to be looking at it from the opposite side. So we're going to be looking at what we actually deliver and how we deliver it, and then leading people to our offer that way, all right? Now, this might not make complete sense straight away, but it will in turn when I go through these 8 steps with you. Now, in order to do this, you have to have clients or people that you work with. They don't necessarily have to be paying clients to begin with, but this will frame you as a problem solver and also position you as someone, an authoritarian basically, who can solve the exact problems that your clients and ideal clients or prospects are having and are likely to have either now or in the future, all right? So this all starts with delivery. Rather than focusing about just talking about your offer, you focus on talking about what it is you deliver. So in order for this to work successfully, you must have a client call or a client meeting of some description, all right? Once you have a call with a client, and this is particularly good for coaches and consultants, but it can work across any kind of service-based niche. Once you have this client call, what is going to happen a lot of the time? Well, a problem is going to arise, yeah? Once you have a problem that crops up on a call, or a bottleneck or a constraint or something like that, you're then going to be able to come up with a solution to that problem. And that's what this reverse delivery method is all about, okay? It's framing you as a problem solver and also a solution provider. So the clients that you have these problems, but they're the exact same problems that your target market who you're trying to sell to have as well. So this is why this works an absolute treat. So not only are you focusing first and foremost 100% of your effort on solving a current client's problem, you're also giving them the solution. That's your job, that's what you've been paid to do, that's great. But once you've gone and solved it, what you actually want to do is turn that into content. And these are the remaining 7 steps are exactly how I would do that. So the second step, if you don't have it yet, I would go and recommend getting Fathom or some sort of AI note taker plugged in, and then you go and take the transcript from this call. Now, you don't necessarily need to do all 8 of these steps. I've really broken it down, so you might be able to skip a few of them. For example, this has just happened on a client call, but I didn't pull the transcript. I just drew out some weird post-it notes and I'm delivering it to you guys now. So you can go and pull the transcript, and if you need to, you can run that through ChatGPT or something like that and ask it to pull out the major points if you need talking points, all right? If you don't, absolutely cool. Now, all I've done, as I say, is just have this call, talk about this process. I actually drew out or listed out these 8 stages, and I've straight away hopped on camera and started to speak about them directly to you guys live, all right? So let's just say we got the transcript. We can look through it, pull out the summary, look at some of the talking points. Perfect. Then we move to stage 3. Which is prep the page, all right? Now, what we're talking here is video content. We're actually talking video rather than written, but you could do this with written as well. In that case, you would just write the post or whatever it is, but we're taking this to extremes, all right? So when I say prep the page, this is my example of prepping the page, all right? You prep something. Now, that could be a Google Doc, it could be a Notion page. Essentially, you get everything ready in a specific order, so the 8 steps, that you've just been through on the call with your client or clients in order to be able to explain it in sequential order, essentially. So you have a prepped page. This is my page. Yours could be Notion, as I say, or Google Docs. Once you have that in an order and you only want a few like bullet points, maybe there's 3 main points and then 3 subcategories, you have a really decent piece of content that is potentially long form, so it could be anywhere from like 5 to 25 minutes of you talking, maybe even 30 minutes, that is basically a solution to your target market's problem. So you have an asset ready there or thereabouts within what, 10 minutes of you hopping off a client call? So what you can do is actually mark out time in your diary after your recurring client calls in order for you to be able to go through this method, yeah? And then you just prep the page. We move then to step number 4, which is coming up with a decent hook. Now, it's all well and good, but if you're filming video content and you just go straight into some boring shit, no one is going to be interested. So what we need to do is come up with a hook. And that is usually the best way to unlock the next step of the video being watched, because if people don't get hooked in straight away, their attention will go elsewhere. I'm not going to talk too much about hooks and, get into too much nuanced stuff, but we want to be able to get people, 1, to start watching, and 2, to keep watching. Really, really crucial. Once you have this hook, you will obviously put it at the top of the page, all right? And if there are any images and stuff that, you might have some client screen grabs, you probably want some like social proof here, and you maybe want to worry about what your CTA is going to be. If you're going to ask them to download something or book a call or whatever it may be, then cool. But once you've done these 4 steps, you're ready, all right? You are ready to go and record or, post an asset that is completely based on a problem that you have just helped solve. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when I help a client solve a problem and they have a massive breakthrough, that lights me up. I love it. So there is no better time than directly after this client call for me to go and talk about the topic or the problem I've just solved passionately, which is hopefully what I'm doing now, all right? So we've got the hook. We've got the client call. It's taken place. We've solved the problem live. We pull the transcript. We put that into a really loose page or a whiteboard, or it could be on your iPad or something like that. We put a hook at the top to make sure that it actually gets our target market's attention. So how I help Dave solve XYZ problem in under 30 minutes so he can goal or whatever, all right? Next, we move on to step 5. And this is exactly what I've done. Go live. And there's a reason. You don't have to do this, but there's a reason that I'm doing this live. And that reason is I can't go and edit this video, all right? It's live. So people are seeing it in the moment. And that gives me a massive set of guide rails or constraints that I have to operate within. I can't go and send it to a YouTube editor. I can't go and tinker around with the intro and outro or make the hook any better. I press record, and I either press record on something like this or I just film my screen. All right, I've filmed my screen with the Google Doc or with the Notion doc, and therefore I am now creating a piece of video content which is completely unscripted. It's freestyle. It shows me in my element. And therefore, I'm also able to come across as someone likable. Now, there are so many benefits to video versus like written posts. Obviously, you get to see a bit of a setup, see how I dress, hear my voice, that kind of thing. But ultimately, I'm able to shift your perception of me and also my offer and product very, very quickly by showing up live on a camera versus just writing it. However, if you do want to write it, absolutely up to you. You don't need to go live necessarily. You still maybe want to prep the page or the post. So once we've gone live, all right, let's say this is going to be like, what are we on? About 10 minutes. Let's say this is going to be 15, 20 minutes long, all right? Once we've done that, all we need to do is download it. So we download the MP4 file. Lovely. We now have a long form piece of content that within an hour, maybe within half an hour of getting off a client call, which is directly targeted at the client, ideal client or the market that we have, that we can go and send out. So once we've downloaded it, we've got this MP4 file, and we move on to step number 7, which is we leave it a couple of weeks and then we can repost it, or we could go across different channels with it. I actually think it's well worth uploading it to YouTube as well. Now, you might be watching this on YouTube because I might repost it over there, but this is intended obviously for LinkedIn. So I can repost that whenever I like, and again, it's just going to be solving problems. Now, the final stage, and this is what most people forget about, is stage number 8, all right? We can then use this long form asset, whether it be 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, in various stages across the client journey, all right? We can use it in DMs. We can use it, and that could be inbound or outbound DMs. So people are interested, we can draw them in with it, or if we want to help someone out in the DMs and try and secure a call booking or a download or whatever it is, we can give them this for free. The second thing is in the sales process. So when someone books a call with you, you are able to automate SMS, emails. You can also do it manually as well. You can automate communications with that person before the call takes place in order to elevate their perception of you and your product before they even speak to you. Okay, they get excited, it helps them show up, and ultimately might help you close the deal. It should do. So we can send this out at strategic points during the sales process too. And then finally, as I mentioned, we probably want to stick it on YouTube. Now there's a reason that I am putting so much effort into video content and YouTube, not because just of AI and stuff like that, but actually, much more importantly, because the shelf life of YouTube is much, much longer than any other social platform. You think about putting out an Instagram post or a LinkedIn post, ultimately, they have a shelf life of like 48 to 72 hours. That's it. After that, they're pretty much gone. Yes, you can repost them, but ultimately, they vanish into the ether. With YouTube, we have to remember that YouTube's owned by Google. Google's the biggest search engine in the world. YouTube's actually the second. So when people have problems to solve, they type them into search engines. Therefore, this piece of content that you have made within an hour of hopping off your client call has the potential to live on for like 8 years, 10 years, whatever it may be. So you don't have to have a full YouTube strategy and optimize your profile and all this kind of stuff, or even worry about subscribers, but you may as well put this content on YouTube as well, because there will be people searching for it. And when people start to search for things, and if you can hook them in quickly, that's why this part is so important, they will then spend more time with you and be indoctrinated into your way of thinking. Now, under the YouTube video, you could put that you have a lead magnet, or you have a low ticket product, or book a call, or whatever it may be, and that will allow you to either get to your core audience who already know who you are, the casual audience who may be just sort of browsing, or people that are new who actually don't know you at all. And what we can do is make sure that we tailor the hook to anyone that might know us, kind of knows us a little bit, or has just found us as well. Now, I'm not going to get into specifics about hooks as I mentioned, but this is what I have coined as, literally on the call with clients this morning, the reverse delivery method. So rather, just as a summary, rather than leading with the offer and then like trying to deliver it to people, we deliver the offer to people and talk about it. It's as simple as that. So if you have calls with clients, this works. You hop on the call, you solve the client problem, then you pull the transcript if you need to and prep a page or a spreadsheet, whatever it may be. You write a hook, then you immediately, no break, you go, maybe a toilet break, but you go live, all right? You get it all out. I've made numerous mistakes while I've been live. Just said the word then. Don't bother cutting it out. This will save you absolutely hours. You download the file as an MP4, and then you can stick it on YouTube, repost it, whatever you want, and you can also use it in your sales process. So DMs, sales process, as I say, in terms of the journey before the call's been booked, and also whack it up on YouTube. And this will probably save you, I don't know, hours every single year, just because you're acting in the moment and you're not afraid to mess shit up on camera. Anyway, I'm going to put a link to something free. I don't know what it is. I'm going to put a link to something free underneath this video so you can go and grab it. Actually, I'm running a workshop on Wednesday, so I'll put the link underneath. You'll be able to attend. It's completely free. There are still a few tickets left. I'm capping it at 30 people. I'm not going to be talking specifically about this, but I am going to be talking about a content system as a whole, something a bit more detailed and a bit more robust. But if you're struggling to come up with content ideas and you do have clients, this is what I recommend you should do. Hope that was helpful. I'll see you soon.